Hello out there, it's Jenna Pecor, and today I'm talking to the one and only Grand Prairie Mayor Ron Jensen as he tells us a bit about his background, both in business and as a youth who grew up in this town. We learn about how he decided to become mayor, what a mayor's job is, how he runs his daily schedule of commitments, and why he is so passionate about the city of Grand Prairie. Recorded in the beautiful recording studio at the Epic, this podcast with Mayor Jensen was lovely, as are all my interactions with this very cool mayor. And without further ado, here's the Faces of Grand Prairie podcast. Hello, everybody. This is Jenna Pecor, and we are here with another edition of Faces of Grand Prairie podcast. And I am here with Mayor Ron Jensen.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, sir. I am so glad that you agreed to do this. You are always up for anything. You really are.
I really will try almost anything.
I've said this before to a lot of people, but I think it's pretty cool that a mayor, whenever I say, you think maybe you want to try a new podcast? He goes, sure. That's exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Sure. So I have a question, because you and I saw each other at Starbucks the other day, and one of my first questions I wanted to ask you, we talked about what people call you. So what are you supposed to call a mayor? How are you supposed to address a mayor?
Miss Ruthie would always say, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
She would. A lot of people say honorable, but I just like mayor.
Mayor.
Yeah,
okay.
Just mayor.
Mayor Jensen.
Either
Mayor Ron.
Mayor Jensen.
Mayor Jensen. That's what I call you normally.
Right.
It's
easy.
It is easy. It is easy.
And they don't even have to remember my last name. It's just Mayor. Hey, Mayor.
That's right. But I saw you at Starbucks, and they were just calling out your first name, and I said, well, that's just weird that they're calling you out by that. And you said, well, it'd be weird if they were calling me out mayor whenever they were calling out my drinks that I wanted.
That's right. I walked in there this morning. They all say, hey, Ron.
You are a Starbucks aficionado.
Well, I go every day, yes.
Yeah. And you have gone even before they moved it over to
I started out at the old site, and back before I ran for mayor. In fact, a lot of my supporters came from Starbucks, and that's the only place I knew them from, because they didn't even know I was on the council. Somebody would finally come in and come over and say, Mr. Jensen, can I ask you this city question? And I'd talk to them, and then they'd leave, and one of my friends would say, why are they asking you? Well, I'm on the council. Oh, didn't know it.
Oh, I just thought he really liked coffee.
Yeah. So when they found out I was running for mayor, they all, well, what can I do? It was my Starbucks crew. I call it my Starbucks.
That's awesome. I love that. That is so, so cool. But that is just something about you. You are always out and about. Always. I see you in so many different places. What is the typical day like for you?
Well, let's just talk about today. I didn't have anything early this morning. I went to Starbucks. In fact, one of the guys that I see there all the time, he said, I asked him where you were. You're a little late. And I said, yeah, I didn't set
What was
the
it, like
alarm
6:05?
No, it was 8:05. Yeah. I usually get there at 7:30. And, but interesting, Georgia Clemson and I, Councilmember Clemson, had this month is Welding Month, National Welding Month.
I did not know that.
And out at the old Gifford Hill Hanson Pipe Futura site there at MacArthur and I-30.
Yes.
The back half has been sold to Thompson Pipe.
Okay.
They do a lot of welding there, so they said, Mayor, can you come? And since it's Georgia's district, can she come too?
Wow.
And be here at 11:30 for a tour? So I said, yes, that's on my calendar. And then I get the email from Chief Dye about this event today at 12 noon.
I really thought when I showed up that they just had the security for me for the podcast interviews. I was sadly mistaken that was not for me.
It wasn't for me either.
No, it wasn't for you. So they were celebrating what? Low crime?
Historical low crime.
That's amazing.
So George and I both wanted to be here for that. So I emailed Gloria, said, get with them, tell them I can be there at 11, but I need to leave at 11:45. Well, they called back and basically told Gloria, begged her, says, look, our president from California is flying in.
Wow.
Can the mayor, it doesn't start till 11:30, can he? So I talked to Chief Dye, and he said, "Fine, I'll have you speak when you show up." So we got a tour, and I wanted to be respectful. I can't stay the whole time they wanted me, but we got a tour of the plant, spent some time with the president. It's really interesting. I'll be posting some pictures later how they make the big old 90-inch wide diameter steel pipe.
I'm seeing some Dubisky.
Yes.
Some stuff going on there with some students.
So then I raced over here. Chief Dye said, "Well, about what time are you going to be here?" I said 12:30. So I got here at 12:35, and he was just wrapping up, and then invited me to the stage, which is kind of tough for me because I like to hear what he's talked about before I get up.
Right.
So I don't step on his toes. But I didn't hear anything he said, so I got up and went over my 3 things that kind of came to me today, and then finished at 12:55, and bam, here I am with you.
Now upstairs.
Yes, I was at the Texas Trust Theater downstairs.
So for those of you, we haven't said this yet, but we're actually recording this at the Epic.
Right.
Which is, for those of you, I've said this a million times, for those of you who haven't been in this building, you've got to come see it. It is absolutely unreal.
It's epic.
It is so beautiful. And the stuff that's inside of it, the things that people can take advantage of, even the citizens that, even if whether you're a member or not, you can come in here and take advantage of these amazing things. We're actually in a recording studio. We're having state-of-the-art equipment in here, and I just got to come in and rent this facility, and this is where we're doing this recording. And then downstairs they had an event for the police officers for Grand Prairie.
In our little 250-seat theater. And one of my favorite singers is going to be here May 17th.
Who is that?
Josh Weathers.
Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness.
That is a really cool theater, too. Very, very cozy, but there's a lot of seats in it.
It's a duplicate of the Kessler in Oak Cliff. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
A duplicate of it. Even the little small sitting area around the outskirts of it, same size as the Kessler.
That is so cool. That is really neat. Everything was just so deliberate when they built this. I mean, it's just astonishing. And so, so then after this, what do you have going on? Do you have another more busy day?
No, I don't. I've got to go. Tom Hart and I are working on some things that we can't discuss yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got to get with him and Megan, our attorney, on some developer prospects. Then I'll go back to my office for a little bit before I go home.
Well, I'll ask you about that in a second, but I wanted to point out, I mean, this just goes to show, if for those of you who've never met the mayor before, you really need to, because this is just we're starting this off. I think this is going to be a really cool podcast, and I think it's going to bring a lot of, people that don't know someone like the mayor personally, you get to know a lot more about them. But he had how many other things going on? You could have easily told me, listen, can we do it another day? Because you had the chief of police, you're interviewing this brand new thing, and you still came.
Right. Well, you were first on the calendar, actually.
Oh.
The Thompson Pipe came in later.
Uh-huh.
Now, I had one of those trumped you, I probably would have called and said, I need to move you.
Absolutely.
But see, because Thompson had their time set, but fortunately I was able to fit all 3 in. I showed up at Thompson Pipe at 11:15, left there at 12:20, left downstairs at 12:55, and I'll leave here at 2. I'm going straight.
But
I'm going to go have lunch. Hadn't had lunch yet.
Oh, well, there you go. There, downstairs.
I will. I'll grab one of those sliders.
That's right. But because I've known you for a while, and because you've always shown up, you've always shown up to anything I've ever asked you to do. Because we did National Night Out, you always come to do those things. Anytime I ever say yes, if you can, you always do. And I'm not the only person that's noticed that about you. And so I'm curious, do you have a hard time fitting everything in?
I do sometimes.
Yeah.
I can't live without with Gloria Colvin at City Hall. She takes care of calendaring things for me,
right.
But I tell her to calendar things.
Right.
She doesn't calendar anything without me approving it.
It's not like you wake up and you don't know what you're doing that day.
Right. And some people don't realize, I get emails that say, I don't know if you'll read this or not. I may get a staffer respond. I read all my own emails. I respond to all my own emails.
Mm-hmm.
And I calendar things out weeks ahead if I can, and
I can testify to that because when I put I put an email out to you and a few other people, and you were the first one to respond to me when I said, I have this idea. I think we want to do this. You immediately said, sure. And you were the first person to say that. And it wasn't your assistant, it was you.
I do not like my iPhone to have red dots on it.
So you don't like all the notifications?
No, I'll sit by somebody. I set somebody. I'm on the RTC, Regional Transportation Council, with 40 mayors, judges, people from all over the Dallas-Fort Worth area. One of the mayors, I won't tell you who he is, sitting next to me. I looked at his one time. He had 394 emails.
Oh, no.
I said, how do you do that? He says, I never catch up. Well,
oh, man.
I keep mine caught up. I mean, I'll sit in the car for 15 minutes. When I go to Starbucks, I will clear out every one of my emails I got overnight while I'm at Starbucks. Every one of them, I'll clear them out. Send them to somebody, answer them, do what I have to do with them. Put them in a file to do later. I have a file.
Yeah.
You have to have some type of system.
Absolutely.
I'll put it in a file to hold, but text messages, I clear those out. All of those, I clear out.
You don't want to look at my phone.
I don't.
It's bad. Especially when you're on like a parent, group, and it's like group text.
Oh, take me off this group.
Exactly.
That Facebook, the message. My gosh, I've opted out of so many of those. Why am I on this?
I know. I'm like,
they add you, and then you're just getting these random stuff, and I don't even know what they're talking about. So I dropped the group.
That's exactly. I know, and I'm like, I don't want to know any of this. This has nothing to do with me. But I mean,
yeah, nothing to do with me.
So you were a business owner. Right.
I am. I haven't always been, but 8 years ago I was able to buy the company that I started working for in 1972.
Wow.
When I was 21 years old.
Wow. So do you think that being a business owner has helped you be a mayor? And
well,
has helped you with those little clear outs of your emails?
I'm asked that a lot, and people say, well, he's a business owner, he knows how to run a budget and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it does, but more importantly,
mm-hmm.
I think it's helped me be a mayor. Mm-hmm. Because what is the CEO of a company supposed to do? Surround themselves with good people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And set the vision. See?
Yes.
I don't run the police department. I don't run my plating shop at work.
Right.
See the connection?
Yes.
You surround yourself with capable people. Set the vision, set the goals. Of course, you set policy.
Right.
That's us, the council and the mayor. So it's very similar. Now, budgets, a budget of a city is completely different in that
yeah,
you have to set the budget. We're working on the budget right now for October through September of next year.
Wow.
And you can't exceed your budget,
Right.
Business, things change.
Right.
We get a big contract we're not going to get a big contract that the city have to all of a sudden hire a lot of people.
No.
Businesses have to be a lot more flexible.
Yeah. It's different how you get your money too in both places, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're getting the stuff in right now. What the tax rate's going to be, and Austin's deciding whether or not they're going to put a cap on us or not. And I'm not fighting the cap. I don't want it at 2.5 or 1.75.
Right.
But don't drop us from 8, which is what we've had, to 2.5.
Right. Right.
Now we shouldn't have to sustain at 8% all the time.
Right.
But 4-ish that's bankable would be fine. But people need to understand that's just part of our budget. So we're growing. We have a sales tax growth, but you take a city that doesn't have growth,
right,
and they're set at 4%, and the property tax is half of their budget. They're actually only going to get 2% growth. Well, that doesn't even allow you to give much of a raise. So
no, right.
Austin is down debating it today on the floor. I'll be looking at my emails of how it went when I get out, but we're going to be okay.
Well, I'll tell you this, like one of the things that I noticed about Grand Prairie is we're right in the middle of DFW, but yet we are experiencing so much growth for having been where we're located. To think that all the growth that we're getting to do right now, I mean, didn't I see an article the other day about how we're one of the fastest growing cities?
We are.
As far as like economy and all that stuff. So that's, when you can see, you can be in a place like the Epic and you can see the result of why our tax, why this is where your money is going. And you can see that there's things being done with it that are amazing, this community has changed so much just even since I was a kid. And it's really exciting. It's very, very exciting, especially as a real estate agent, when I can tell people, listen, I know that our mayor, I know that our city council are doing amazing things for this city. It's really cool to be able to say that kind of stuff. So I don't know if a lot of people really know what your job is. What is your job as a mayor?
Well, it's kind of, part of it is setting that vision. Of course, I run the meetings. Robert rules of order, have to run the meeting, get the votes, make sure we follow open meetings rules, things like that. So I run the meetings. But also, the biggest part that I have found, I am the ambassador for the city of Grand Prairie.
Yep.
I am the spokesperson for the city of Grand Prairie. Okay, the vision, and I'll get into the vision after I explain this, because the vision's what brought the Epic about.
Absolutely.
So, but if something happens, good or bad, who do they want to talk to? The mayor.
That's right.
So you have to be able to, I get calls. There's some news people around the area that have my cell number.
Right.
And they know they can call me. They know I may not be able to give them an answer sometimes. They'll hear a rumor about something coming, and I say, I can't tell you right now, but I'll call you later.
That's true, whether it's a news person or not. I was actually talking to somebody the other day, Tiffany Ross. Her and her husband own a business here in Grand Prairie. She had asked you a question. You said, I can't get you that answer right now, but I'm going to find out.
Right.
And you actually followed up with her. She's not a news person. She's just a citizen here. And she goes, I couldn't believe that he actually took the time to follow up with me about that.
I have to do it then. I get questions on Facebook Messenger. I cut and paste them. I copy, put them in email, send them to the staff member responsible with a name on it, so I'll know how to find them back. Because when I get the answer, they may be 12 or 20 down the list. You know what I'm talking about. They may be 20 down the list. Oh, who was that asked me that question?
Exactly.
So you have to have you have to be organized to be the mayor. I guarantee you. You have to have a system.
Absolutely.
So the other thing is that's similar to business owner. You got to get the management team working together. My management team, I consider my council, just like my management team at work. Everybody has their own ideas. Sometimes when we have an issue, we have different solutions. That's why you have 9 on the council, so we can get that give or take and things.
Yes,
so
yes.
You have to manage and run the meetings in a style that they know they can say what they want, but at the end of the day, we're going to need to vote.
Right.
And let's get our votes in, and if you disagree, that's fine. Let's don't be disagreeable.
Right.
I mean, get
disagree,
your point
but
across.
Don't be disagreeable. I think that's
get your point across. And I think if you watch any of our council members' meetings, even when somebody votes no or 2 vote no, they will say why, explain it. Okay, I see where you're coming from. I'm still not going to vote with you on this, but
Yeah, but I can understand your perspective.
Be respectful and let everybody speak in.
Yeah, I need to get George on here, but Jeff Copeland is one of our city council members. He's actually going to be here next week. He's got a cool story. See, and a lot of people that are on city council, I don't think people realize that when you decide to become an elected official for a city, you're still usually working other things. This isn't your only thing that you're doing.
I'm married, have kids, grandkids. We got things to do.
And you're still working in a job.
Yeah.
This is not your only job.
Right. Now, I don't run the day-to-day anymore. When I became mayor 6 years ago, actually when I decided to run for mayor, I went into my son and my executive team and I said, Tag, I can't do running for mayor and be the president of the company, both justice. So Eric is the acting, he's in charge right now. And y'all are it. And I got with my son and my staff, here's what y'all need to give me, the data you need to give me, and the decisions I still need to make.
Right.
I don't want to make the small decisions. That's up to y'all.
Yeah.
But so they know the rules. They know what to give me, what to not. So I spend time in there every day. I go around and say hi, talk to our accountant, where we're at on that. Small businesses is, small businesses are small businesses. It's that shipment's got to go out the door, cash has got to come in the bank.
And I don't think I've ever heard you even mention what your business even is, because when you're mayor, that is what your yeah. I mean, and so that's really neat. But
so I try to do a balance.
Yeah. So you mentioned when you decided to run for mayor, what made you want to run for mayor?
Okay, let's go back to when I ran for council in 2002.
Okay.
You need a little historical perspective here.
Yeah.
I started to work for Mr. Hanks back in.
And who is Mr. Hanks?
Mr. Hanks was on the sports corp from its inception until about 2012.
Are we talking about the same Mr. Hanks that was my old neighbor?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Yes.
I was working for Ray Wallace in his machine shop on 14th Street while I was going to college.
Okay.
Running a Bridgeport machine.
Wow.
Because the shop foreman went to church with my daddy where he preached. That's where I met your mother.
Right.
She and her sister Angie and her mom and dad went there.
Yep.
I think her mama worked across the street on Jefferson at a trailer.
She did. Yes, she did.
She sure did.
I didn't realize that was at that place, but yeah, that's exactly
where Shoot Smart is now down there. So Mr. Hanks felt like business leaders in the community, whether they sell to the community or not, it's irrelevant. Not because we don't sell. You can't walk in our front door and buy anything. We sell to government. We sell to Lockheed, Sikorsky.
Your customers are not the public.
Right. Didn't buy anything. He felt like every business owner and manager should live in the community that their business is in.
Very true.
And be involved. So he got me in the Y. That was his big thing. Chamber, other things. He ran for council 3 times. Got beat 3 times.
Wow.
Devastated him. But it never turned his back on Grand Prairie. He didn't say, well, the citizens don't want me, I'm not going to do anything. No.
That's a very good attitude.
Kept doing things, became vice president of Sports Corp, but never came to me and said, I want you to run for office someday. But Rebecca and I knew he wanted me to. It's just that feeling. So in November of 2001, before Thanksgiving, he came into my office and said, we've never discussed this, but if you've ever thought about running for council, now would be the time, because Jim Bledsoe, who represents your district, I think had served 6 or 8 years, has decided not to run again. I said, well, let me think about it. Went home. The whole family's there for Thanksgiving. Got the whole family's support. Came in that Monday, said, I'm going to do it.
Wow.
So I ran for council. Was successful. Loved it. After 3 or 4 years of being on council, I realized I can make a difference as a council member, but boy, I can make a bigger difference as mayor. Went to Charlie, Mayor England.
Right.
We became close friends. I realized real quick, everything went through Charlie.
Because he was mayor for how many years?
21 years.
That's right, yeah.
So, but we became good friends. I went to him and said, I'm never going to run against you, but I want to run when you're done. And so that's what did it. And in 2012, he told me he wasn't running in 2013, and he didn't. In fact, he told me in 2009 he wasn't running in 2010.
But he decided to.
He did.
Yeah.
And I've told him afterwards, after I was pissed at him, a few months, about a year afterwards, I said, I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did. This worked. It's going to work out better.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things that happened in that time period.
Yeah, so it was best. So that during my tenure as a council member, I realized I'm like you. I grew up here. I had a vision for the city.
Right.
And so I wanted to make a big difference.
So for those that don't know out there, how many years is a term as a mayor?
3-year terms, no term limits.
3-year terms, no term limits. And what about city councilors?
Same.
So, but they stagger, right?
We have 3 at large.
Okay.
Myself, Copeland, his seat's at large.
Gessner,
his seat's at large. I think I'm up this year. I think Copeland's up next year, his seat.
Yeah.
And then I think Gessner's is up the next year.
And at
His
large,
seat.
for those that don't know,
It's
means that
citywide.
you can live anywhere in the city and you can run, and it's just an at-large place. Otherwise, you live in a precinct, you run in that precinct, you have to live there to be sitting
Right.
in that seat, right?
And we have 6 of those divided up, and we're one of the cities that you have to live in that district to run in that district. Some cities have different districts you represent, but you don't have to live there, which is odd.
I think that is kind of odd.
So ours is 6-3, all 3-year terms, staggered. Three seats are up every year,
Gotcha.
and one at least citywide.
So, what was the hardest thing about transitioning into being a mayor from being a city councilor?
I can't say anything that was hard.
Was there anything surprising or that was unexpected?
No, because I'd spent so much time with Charlie, and I spent so much time as mayor pro tem. And later on in Charlie's tenure, he didn't go to everything.
What is mayor pro tem for those that don't know?
The mayor pro tem is the assistant mayor, kind of say, or vice mayor.
And that's a city councilor, right?
Councilman, person.
Yes, person.
City council person. And they run the meetings when I'm not present. And I always like to be gone a meeting, so my mayor pro tem can run a meeting. I think it's an honor for them to run a meeting. So Mayor pro tem Copeland has run 2 meetings. Every time since I have become a mayor, I've missed a meeting so that my mayor pro tem can run a meeting.
That's making a very good point, because they need to know how to do that, right?
Well, it's an honor to them too, and
yes.
So I think it's hard to say what was the biggest surprise, because
you felt pretty prepared, knowing what was expected of you.
Yes, I have been overjoyed with the response from our citizens on what they say about the job I'm doing.
Yeah.
Rebecca and I are stopped everywhere we go.
Yeah.
By people we don't know. And Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just wanted to say hi to you and your wife. Just tell you we love what you're doing. I love you being approachable. See, that's the other thing. That's why I take, when you invite me to things, I want the citizens to know, hey, I'm really you. I just happen to be mayor.
Right, right. And I think that this is...
Your mother would never, your mother's known me from, she knows I'm just Ronnie.
I'm going to ask you about that in a second. But one of the things that I can tell you is probably different from when Charlie was mayor versus now. And one of the reasons people even recognize you, because I can guarantee I could probably walk by the mayor of, I don't know, Plano and not know who it is. Mm-hmm. But it's because you have a really strong social media presence. That's something that Charlie didn't have to worry about. So
no. And
I've actually tagged you on several things in social media, because it's funny the kind of the outpouring of either comments or things like that you get, and I see that all the time. So.
I do, and people know they can ask me a question. I'll research and get back with them. But I have learned to use social media to the benefit of the citizens, so they kind of know what's going on in Grand Prairie.
Right.
I'm going to post this afternoon about my tour of Thompson Pike with George and Ideal. Take some pictures. That'd be interesting for them.
Yes, absolutely. And that's sometimes when people are following people that are kind of leaders in the community, which obviously you are a leader in the community, that's how they know what's going on. You know, if they're not part of the chamber, or if they're not business owners and they're just moms and dads, that's how they see.
It's their connection.
That is their connection. And you are very, very good at getting the word out to what is going on. I just saw you in a picture about the Olive Garden that opened yesterday.
Yeah, I read.
You know?
It doesn't take that long to stop by and welcome them.
Absolutely
I
not.
went by Friday to introduce myself to the manager and the co-managers, so they would know who I was. It didn't take me 15 minutes to stop by.
That's phenomenal, though.
But see, just go in and say hi. And I told them I'll be back Monday for the ribbon cutting at 10.
And I can guarantee not all mayors do that. I mean, how cool is that? That you're opening a new business and the mayor actually takes the time to stop in and introduce himself. It's just a shot in the arm, kind of. It's like, okay, we're here, we're supporting you. It's fantastic.
At the restaurant, I do real well.
Yeah, just a tad. It's right in the right spot. For those that haven't driven down 161 in the last, it's been being built for the last 30 days, 60 days. It's just right there, right off that 161
Beautiful
corridor.
Building, yeah.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's right next to, the Ulta and the Ross and all those things coming up. So, but you made a point about growing up here. So I'm curious, How has it been to now be the mayor of the town where you grew up? Because I'm sure there's still people that are older than you that kept you when you were a kid, maybe. Has it been interesting to like?
It has been. I get just the other day. I was with a couple and Main Street Fest.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell you who they were, but it's irrelevant. The husband and wife said, "Your daddy baptized us. No, married us at 8th Street."
Wow.
Married us. So yes, I have some friends that knew me as a 13-year-old when I moved here.
Yeah.
That tell me your mom and dad would be so proud. I think my wife Rebecca tells me I'm part my mom, part my dad. I can kind of preach like my daddy and have a sense of humor like my mama.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But you spent a lot of time, like you were talking about Mr. Hanks, and anytime that you'd ever come to anything I was having at my house, which usually it was National Night Out when we would do that every October, you'd always tell me, I spent so much time on this street. So you being able to grow up as a kid and then have have him as an adult say, Ron, I think it's time that you actually try this. That must be a really good feeling.
It is. He was my mentor. He was really, he has 3 lovely daughters,
Mm-hmm.
Linda, Martha, and Janie, who I'm still real close to. They always joked and said, I was the son he never had.
Mm.
Many people, as recently as 6, 7, 8 years ago, thought I was married to one of his daughters, and that's how I got in the business. Really, they thought,
Wow.
she was a Hanks, Now,
Wow.
we love them, they love us, but it was just through Mr. Wallace and Mr. Ferguson recommending me to Mr. Hanks that I got the job, and we just clicked.
Mm-hmm.
And went everywhere together, did everything together. I'd help him do stuff at his house on Saturday mornings. We worked together every Saturday morning when I was in my 20s and 30s. I'd meet him at the office and we'd go do things.
Wow, that's so neat. And because when you guys were growing up, my parents, y'all are, I don't know if y'all are the same age or not.
We're not. I'm older than your mom and dad.
Okay, so, but y'all grew up in a time where I think the southernmost developed bit of Grand Prairie was when y'all were kids. Like, how far south did it go?
Well, 8th Street Baptist was at Skyline.
Uh-huh.
And there wasn't much south of that. The Plattner Ranch was a little south of us, but there was no 303 or anything like that.
No, but it was Main Street?
Yeah.
And y'all had a bunch of businesses that y'all spent a lot of time in.
Oh, Western Auto, White's, a lot of things on Main Street. The old Watsons, Kips.
Oh, Kips.
That's where we all went to after football games, the Kips.
That's right.
After basketball games, we went to Shakey's Pizza over at Jefferson and Great Southwest Parkway.
Jefferson and
which
Great
is a
Southwest.
gas station
Oh,
now.
okay. All right.
It's been torn. That was Shakey's Pizza there. After home basketball games, we'd all go to Shakey's Pizza.
What about Don Juan's Romantic? Is that where the Romantic Mexican? Is that where y'all took each other on dates?
No, Rebecca and I didn't, but most everybody did, and we'd go to the Candlelight Inn,
Oh, the
which is in
Candlelight
Arlington,
Inn.
but it's reopened. And I
Yeah.
know Alan Pecci, who bought it. In fact, our business did business with him. I never knew him until after he retired and sold the business and bought. I met him through a mutual friend at Candlelight Inn.
So you've gotten to see Grand Prairie really grow, because when you think about how big Grand Prairie, like territorial wise, how big Grand Prairie is, it's huge.
We're long and skinny.
Long and skinny. And, just in your lifetime, it went from just being on the north side of town, what we would call the north, and now it's all the way down to through the peninsula and everything. How cool is that to see that progress that way?
It is. When Rebecca and I first got married, we lived in Avia Village. The first house that we bought was the Fox and Jacobs home on Crossland, which was that Fox and Jacobs addition north of I-20.
Over by the Coles, which
Yes.
it wasn't a Coles back then, but.
And then we moved from there to the Fox and Jacobs addition way down south in Trailwood.
Oh, yes.
See, so we kept going south as the new homes built.
That's right. And I remember, because we lived off of Crossland as well, whenever I was in middle school, they had just built the Albertsons. That is now no longer there, but then they built the movie 16, and we thought we were moving up in the world when we got that movie 16.
Yeah,
we were like, Grand Prairie has a movie 16 and a Chili's. We're so excited.
Yeah.
But so kind of watching this city develop, like, you know, how long has it been in talks about 161? Like, how far back do you have to start to plan something like that?
Well, this is very interesting. People say different things. Well, the landowner wanted this. The landowners want to sell.
They want money.
They don't care what goes on.
They don't.
They want to sell for
Right.
top dollar.
Right.
Here's the way it happens. That landowner and a bunch of partners own that land where IKEA sits right now.
Right.
Because the George Bush 161 got delayed so long, the original owners that farmed cotton there couldn't hang on to it long enough. So a big partnership group owned it, and we would have developers come in on their behalf saying, we want to do this, we want to do that. I'm very proud of our 9 council members that we didn't jump at the first thing they wanted to do. Now, you being a realtor, you know that land has rights.
Correct.
The owner of the land doesn't. That land.
Right.
And the rights to that land and what you can build there transfers with whoever owns it. Doesn't matter who owns it.
That's right.
So the example I'm going to give you is if a developer had come in and said, we want to build this on that piece of property, and what they wanted to build exactly matched the zoning, the city would not have been able to tell them no.
Oh, okay.
But all the developers were coming in were wanting changes to the development plan for that, and it didn't fit our vision for it, so we were able to tell them no. See, there's a difference. People wonder why we have warehouses in the city, because that dirt is zoned for warehouses. No dirt owner is going to flip it for single family because they can't get as much per square foot.
Right.
For a single family house.
So what you're saying is that the city does not own all the land in a city.
Doesn't own any of it hardly.
I think that, and I try to correct this too when I see a lot of it, is they think that y'all have the power.
We don't.
To bring in anyone you want.
Right. Why don't you just call Sprouts? I've called them, folks. I'm calling them.
I think that's the comment thread that I said, guys, he's a mayor, not a genie.
You did. See, we don't own the land. The land has zoning. The landowner is the only one that can allow you to flip that zoning. Like if you want to take zoning that's zoned multifamily, let's talk a hot spot. We have spots around the city that already zone multifamily.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. I hate saying this, but you can have everybody not want the multifamily there. Multifamily's going there. Even if the council says no. We could vote it down. They go to the court the next day, get an injunction because the land has rights for that to be there. So multifamily dirt sells a whole lot more than, for whole lot more per square foot than single family. So that's why they're not, well, why can't you talk them into building single family there? Because if you owned it, you wouldn't want to be.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, on a flip side of that, that's why you don't have if your neighborhood is zoned for single family homes, that's why you're not going to have a supermarket in the middle of your street, because they're not allowed to do that. We benefit from that, but there's also rules, and there's a reason why, and there's a reason it's like that. I know everybody has their own preferences on what they would like to see places. I mean, oh my gosh, if I saw one more about the warehouse thing, I was like, guys, come on. But then I live on the north side of town. They're like, we need to bring in a Chick-fil-A and stuff. I'm like, I really love that I can get onto Carrier on this side of town and turn right onto Carrier and not have to worry about it.
Let's go back real quick to finish up the story about 161.
Yes, yes.
So we were patient.
So when did that start?
Oh, it started once
when did the conversation start?
It started once the RTC and the state gave approval to build 161.
And what year was that?
I couldn't tell you, but it was while I was on the council.
So it could have gone back all the way to 2002.
Yes.
And
because it was on the books for a long time, but Barefoot Sanders had it hung up in court for clearances.
Yeah.
Because the Citizens Grand Prairie Citizen Group filed suit for environmental. But I'm not bothered by that.
Right.
Because had it been built 30 years ago, we may have screwed it up 30 years ago.
God, could you imagine?
We wouldn't have an IKEA. So let's fast forward.
Yeah, yeah.
So once Barefoot Sanders approved it, then it had to get funding. So once the funding was nailed down, boy, the developers, here's what I want there, here's what I want here. And we collectively said we need something major as a big box.
Yes.
Now, were we thinking IKEA? No.
No.
We were thinking maybe a Lowe's Target super center
Oh, right.
to go there.
And they were thinking even bigger.
So, I don't exactly, I could do the math, but February of the year that we announced IKEA, we announced it in October.
Mm-hmm.
February of that year, we meet with a realtor. I'm going to meet with her in Vegas in May on some development deals. Hopefully, if I'm elected mayor,
Yeah.
this Saturday, I have some meetings set up in May at a retail hospitality deal. The same lady that sat with me, Tom Hart, and Bob O'Neill, who was the economic development director at that time, met in Tom's office. She didn't tell us she was with IKEA. She said, I represent a major
Oh, wow.
furniture store. I need to talk about this site, and here's
Wow.
about what we'll do a year. I need to talk about incentives. What could you bring us? La da 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 da. If you find out who I'm representing, please do not discuss it. Do not say anything. Is it illegal to say something? No. It's illegal. You're not supposed to say things in executive that are talk
Right.
about it. But this is a conversation with. But we kept it a secret. We kept it a secret. The whole council for 8 months
Wow.
when I announced it. So we worked with them.
And how hard is that when people are like, y'all really need to put something cool there? And you're like,
Yeah.
I wish I could say it, but I
Yeah.
can't.
But it was, so we're working on a main event that I was able to announce
Yes.
it at State of the City.
Yes.
We knew about that. The week before, I kept asking, are they gonna let me announce it? The week before my State of the City, they finally called and said, let the mayor announce it. We'll come out with a press release the next day.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm so excited about that.
Well, it's big. It's a regional draw. See, here's what our demographics are our demographics.
Yep.
We can't change them.
Right.
They do the circle. We don't
Yeah.
match up with Mansfield.
No.
Mansfield's median income's 90-something thousand. Ours is 50-something thousand.
Right. Right. Yeah.
We don't match up with them.
Right.
That's why they get a Market Street and we don't.
That's true.
I
There
mean-
has to be a customer base for what you're putting there. Otherwise, there's no business reason.
And the corporate people that run them already know what demographics they're looking for, and you're not going to convince them, no, we're different. No, we do a 5 mile. There's too many places that meet our different demographics if we want to.
It's almost like they know what they're doing and they can look at the numbers and say,
They do.
Yeah, not it.
And so the point being, we try to get more regional draw things, like IKEA. IKEA wasn't built here for Grand Prairie citizens. It's built here for everybody in South Dallas County, South Tarrant County, Ellis County. Same thing with main event. When you get on your computer, Google main event locations. There's not one in South Dallas County. There's one in Grapevine. There's one in South Fort Worth. There's nothing. You take from the one in South Fort Worth, Grapevine, all south and to the east, not another one. So they're thinking this will pick up that whole thing because it's a regional draw. And then